Oh. Anybody remember a congressman that I like to talk about quite often, a backbencher named Boner? He gets all like lushed up on some sort of a mash, some sort of booze, hits the congressional floor and just starts crying endlessly. That guy's always crying, John Boehner. Isn't he right? And Bush cries. Bush cries all the freaking time. He tears up. He cries. He's every time he talks about the sacrifice of our men who are doing without uniforms. They're naked. He cries all the time. The president of the United States cries all the time. Mitt Romney. Monday he cried. Now, how dare these Fox freaks sit there and say, "Oh, it was a very calculated crying moment for Hillary." It wasn't a calculated crying moment for Hillary. And I know this because I've had crying moments. Not the calculated kind like Bush has. Not the calculated kind like Boner has. Boner isn't really calculated. He's drunk. There is a difference. He's drunk. He gets on the floor and he starts weeping all the time about all kinds of crap because he's loaded on the Jack Daniels. That man needs to be on intervention. My name's Congressman Boner. Boehner, and I'm a crying alcoholic congressman. It's just unbelievable. Fox people were just, I can't believe that they actually, picked her apart because she actually said that there's so much passion in her, and that she's putting herself out there despite all the negatives and all of the things that she knew she would have to face. And she sort of welled up because, look, first of all, they're exhausted. All the candidates are exhausted, except for, Mitt Romney, because quite frankly, his wives iron his shirts, and, he's got somebody to do his hair. So, really, and everybody else, he pays them to do stuff. So, how tired could he be? But even Grandpa McCain looks tired, Okay, Grandpa McCain. Giuliani's nowhere to be found. I'm sure, it's hot in New York today. They're having, like, tornadoes all over the Midwest today in January, which is very odd. Today in New York, it's, almost 70 degrees. I mean, it's really freaky, right? I mean, and Romney, he thinks it's both hot and cold, so who the hell cares what he thinks? But Giuliani's got to be here, like, fanning himself, with the fear card, because he's not even playing the game. So how dare they criticize? I mean, that was Michelle Malkin and Bill Kristol and all these freaky Fox people say, she was faking the crying. She was faking the crying. She was not faking, and she hardly cried. She just got choked up is what it is. Because while her husband, Bill, feels your pain, she apparently feels her own. So, all right, there's your joke if you wanted to make it. But honestly, what were they doing not pointing out that Mitt Romney on Monday that man started crying. He was watching a casket of a soldier killed in Iraq being returned to the United States and imagining, because it's Mitt's world, his name's like Willard or something. He's got like a really weird name. His name's not Mitt. His name's like Willard or Ben, something, a rat name. His name is like a rat. Something like a rat name. I don't know what it is. But, yeah, so he said, he was imagining that in that casket, imagining that it was one of his 5 strapping young boys, all of age, to go fight in Iraq. Well, he's imagining that in that casket was one of those 5 strapping boys who qualify to go to Iraq, who haven't gone to Iraq, and they called it a poignant twist on a story. They called it a poignant story, a poignant moment for Mitt Romney. I'm sorry. Why is it a poignant moment for Mitt Romney when he's imagining something, but when Hillary's actually sitting down at a diner in Portsmouth and she's exhausted, and somebody says to her, it wasn't a bad question that she was responding to either. Somebody had asked her, how do you deal with all this pressure? Obviously, running for office, I mean, people who have considered or have done, the running for the office thing, even if you've run for a dog catcher, if you've run for election supervisor, if you've run for, congressperson, whether it's, state Congress, whether it's, the federal Congress, U.S. Congress, state Senate, or the U.S. Senate. I mean, this is really hard. It's really hard. There's a lot, like, You ever apply for a passport? Yeah, I just did that, right? I just did that because of the cruise. Because now you need a passport to go to Mexico. I don't know. Coming in from Mexico, you don't need crap. Going into Mexico, you better be documented. So I have to go, okay, so my name is changed so many times. They can't keep up with me. The State Department can't. So, I mean, I had to, like, jump through hoops at the post office today telling the woman, look, here, I brought every piece of paper known to my life. I mean, from my birth certificate, from the day the world was blessed with me, and my mother and father saddled with me. Yeah, don't think I don't know the difference. But from that day on, I brought that. I brought my it's so funny to look at my marriage certificate now. You know, my marriage license. Yes, I did get married in the Little White Chapel in Las Vegas by an Elvis impersonator. And you show that to the lady at the post office, she's like, oh, you're kidding. You were one of those? Yeah, it was one of those. I have a sense of humor about the whole thing. But yeah, so I brought my license from Clark County, which is, Las Vegas. I brought the certificate from the Elvis impersonator who apparently signed off on. And I brought my driver's license. I brought the 2 photos I was supposed to bring. I brought my birth certificate. I had everything that you could possibly imagine. Photos, names, the marriage license had the maiden name, marrying the Robertson man. Hence, my name is now Randy Robertson, right? You know me as Rhodes, but it doesn't matter. The State Department doesn't know who the hell Randy Rhodes is, and we really don't want them to. So, I was like, I'm trying to explain all this to her. It's like, personally, I really don't care. I'd like to see you get your passport. It's kind of girl I am. I wear polyester all day. I could have an attitude, and I don't. I'd like to see you get your passport. I just don't see anything that says that your name changed from this maiden name here to this married name here. I said, well, this is my marriage license. Well, in New York, not every woman chooses to give up her maiden name. I'm like, okay, I'm a liberal too, honey, but this says I married Jim Robertson, and so that is my name, Randy Robertson. This is my driver's license. It's Randy Robertson on the license. And here's my birth certificate. Look right here. This was the name that I was given when I was born. See that name? Same name on the marriage certificate, marrying the Robertson guy. And here's the divorce papers. You know what this says? Social Security number stays the same whether she keeps his name or doesn't. This is who she is. I'd like to see you get your passport, but I'm not saying that you will. This is what happens when you try to get a passport. Can you imagine how hard it is to run for president of the United States? And she didn't even cry, okay? Like I said, I'm not picking anybody until the nominee for our party, for the Democratic Party, is picked, and then whoever that is, then we're going to rally, and we're going to vote, and we're going to get everybody out there, and we're going to have people in the voting places, and we're going to have poll watchers, and we're going to do everything that we need to do to make sure that the votes get counted. Because this, and turnout's going to be huge. I mean, it's got to be a huge factor in this. We're going to have more people turn out than ever before, and I believe they will. I really do, especially if Barack Obama is the nominee, because it is apparent that he has become a movement. There's no doubt about it. Now, if I was talking about Michelle Malkin or the GOP or how Fox News sucks or Bill Kristol or how that they just tore into Hillary for not even crying, for just getting a little emotional about the pressure she faces trying to run for President of the United States. That's right. I've just explained to you how difficult it is just to get a freaking passport. Then let's refer to them as what they are. They're a movement over. They are a bowel movement. And what did I always say? That Fox News was one vowel movement away from what they do to the news. In fact, they don't even want you to know. Half the people that are running are running. And you know who I mean by that, don't you? Yeah, now, Sean Hannity is now running. Fox News didn't want you to know that Ron Paul was running for the GOP, for the Republican nomination. They didn't even want to mention his name. They didn't want you to know that Ron Paul was running, and now they don't want you to know that Sean Hannity is running from Fox News watchers. So, what was their motto? We report, you decide. People decided. Fox News sucks. Yay.